Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my next Get a Life Moments interview with myself, Lisa Davies. And today I am joined by Kyle Walker of Positive Connections. Hi, Kyle. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. Thank you very much. All the better for seeing you, Lisa.
Good. It's great to have you with me. So for those people who are watching the episode today and haven't come across you before, who is Kyle Walker?
Well, my name's Kyle, and I've been through quite a lot of traumatic experience growing up, and I kind of found my way. I found my way in education, into university. I've created a business that's running really well at the minute. But yeah, just a bit of a big journey from a lot of darkness, a lot of trauma in my childhood, physical abuse, adoption, abandonment trauma, drug addiction. It goes on, the list goes on, and I believe I had something, what I believe to be a spiritual awakening. I know there's many other terms that people may use, but the more I've read up on spiritual awakenings, I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, I believe that is what I had about 6 years ago.
Okay, so you said now, obviously, you're studying at university, and we'll probably discover a little bit more about that later. And you've got your own business, Positive Connections, which obviously is doing really well. What sort of things have you been doing in Positive Connections?
So I've been going to companies, to flagship events, doing a lot of conference speaking on different subjects. So I speak on things like emotional intelligence now, motivational psychology, those two being my main subjects and expertise from the books that I've consumed over the years. But I also do one-to-one coaching. So I have people message me from, to believe it or not, all over the world, message me asking me to do short courses with them to help them either in their spiritual development or motivational psychology, just everyday life, people to coach people through just short interactions so people can implement and create new habits for success and happiness and love and kindness.
And make those positive connections for themselves.
Exactly that.
So you started to allude to there that it's been a journey until the spiritual awakening. So what has been that journey? Obviously you said that there's been some dark places there, and you just mentioned a few things, but if you were to talk us through that journey to this point right now today, what would you say to people has been that journey?
Okay, hold on to your seats, because there might be some very dark. I'm going to share. I'm happy to share everything. So I was adopted at a young age. I was adopted when I was 3 years old into a very beautiful family. I'd just like to reinforce that, because the family who adopted me were incredible. But the circumstances to my adoption were my birth mother was a prolific user of drugs, and when I was born, I had to be coaxed off amphetamines. When I was first born, my first days, weeks, months on this earth, I had to be weaned off amphetamines. And when I was 2 years old, she must have got to a very dark place herself, and she went in Gloucestershire. She put me in a hotel room and set it on fire with me inside of it. I've met her since, believe it or not, when I was 18, and I've read the papers in the social services, and my father got murdered before all this happened, and this is the reason she says took her down the path of destruction. And when she saw me as a child, she just saw Mark, who was my real father's name, and she couldn't cope anymore. So I think the drugs and the circumstances got too much for her. So after that, I was adopted into a beautiful family. I've got to show you this picture. It's on my wall. Just of handsome people. This is my mum.
Oh, wow, look. Aren't they gorgeous?
They're really lovely people. They adopted me when I was young, and as I've learned, as we've gone on into life, I understand implicit memory now. So the years before, when all this stuff was happening with before my adoption, it was embedded in my foundations of my neurological wiring and my implicit memory. So as I was growing up with my adopted parents, I was very violent. I was vicious. I used to lie, deceive, cheat. I was literally everything. I was just vile in the pretense of what you would describe as a bad human, a bad person. I went around hurting people, fighting people, and the more my reputation grew in school and through my teenage years, the more I wanted to prove that reputation of being tough and hard. And it was just I created somebody to protect me from what I thought was a volatile world, what I thought was a dangerous world to be in. But this person really took hold, got his claws in, and literally became who I was. And there was some terrible circumstances. I mean, I remember distinctively, I was always known for. It's so, do you know what? It's nice to be able to speak about this. And I spoke about this before without having any true emotion to it, because I don't attach myself to that person anymore. But anyway, I was outside the shops. I was about 15, 16, and I was always known for headbutting people for whatever reason, because that's what type of man I was. Well, boy, shall we say. And I remember there was about an 18-year-old get out of his car to go to the shops, and there was about 20 of us at the shops, at the shop wall where we all used to hang around. And I said, everyone was talking to me about how I fight and stuff, and I said, "Oh, I'll show you." And I went up to this 18-year-old lad who had done nothing wrong, and headbutted him, and I knocked all his front teeth out. And at the time, that was a reinforcement of how tough I felt I had to be for the world, the volatile world around me. Now I obviously understand it as weakness, but yeah,
kind of vulnerability, wasn't it? It was. I
was protecting myself from. I mean, when I was born, when I was growing up, I looked all around me at school, at the school gates, when parents were dropping the kids off, and believe it or not, there were parents who would look at my mum, and you know, we because in them days in the late 80s and 90s, early 90s, it was really odd for it to be adopted. It was very, so the school, the other parents mum used to see and feel that all the other parents sort of looked at us differently. And I feel I felt that too. And I always was told through school and through education that there's no other love on the planet like your mother's love. And even though I received that from my adopted mother, Linda, who was my mother through and through, I still had this idea of what did I do wrong when I was born? What did I do so wrong as a baby for me to be treated that way, to be abandoned, to be hurt, to be abused, to be not far off attempted murder on myself? And I always ask the question, what did I do so wrong? What did I do? I must have deserved it. And so love to me was a lie. Real true love was a lie, because it just didn't sit with my implicit memory, and obviously the foundations of my nervous and my neurological system was all confused with my surroundings. So like I say, I created this monster.
Not forgetting that you came into this world addicted as well.
Exactly that, exactly that. I've had to fight them addictions since. I keep myself. I'm clean now. I mean, I've never been a big drinker anyway. I can drink alcohol very rarely, but when it comes to addictions, I find myself. I find I'm very disciplined now, but I find before I was disciplined, it maybe wasn't the addiction side of things that was highlighted in my life foremost, but it was extreme behaviour. Which is kind of like an addiction, I guess. It was either all, absolutely everything, or absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you could maybe see that as an addictive personality, even without the substance to form an addiction. We can be addicted to food. We can be addicted to selfies. We can be addicted to anything. And my addiction was, if there was something that I really liked or really wanted, I hit the ground at 100 miles per hour, and 95% of the time I'd stumble and fall and I'd quit. I'd give up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I went through a life of cycling over. I've got a few philosophies, and one of them is cycling over repeated mistakes. until we learn and then we evolve. But we will cycle over these mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. And the mistakes and the circumstance will get harder until you are sometimes forced into really getting a grip of yourself, of your behaviour, before you evolve. But I was losing jobs year after year, girlfriends year after year, because I was cheating, I was lying, I wasn't getting up for work because I was smoking weed, I was drinking, I was taking cocaine, and I was cycling over. But the thing is, what I found, one of the most biggest things back then was I was blaming everything outside of myself.
Yeah.
Everything was, why does life keep doing this to me? Why does God keep doing this? Why does life keep dealing me these cards? Why does it keep happening this way? And so I just kept, my behaviour was perpetual. It just got worse and circumstances got worse. Until a day 7 years ago, well, 6-7 years ago, and I remember it distinctively. I remember being sat at the end of my partner's bed at the time, rocking backwards and forwards with my head in my hands, crying uncontrollably, and she was saying, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I said, I can't describe what's happened to me. Something's happened to me, and I think I'm gonna have to go to the hospital because my head's just gone. But it wasn't in a bad way. I need to try and reinforce that. It wasn't in a bad way. I was rocking backwards and forwards, and my mind was just telling me everything that I've ever thought was a lie. It didn't have to be that way. There was another way out. Everything that you have ever done in your life and everything that you have, all the destruction and chaos you have caused, Kyle, it's all been because of your input to this world. What you have put in, you have received.
Yeah.
But your input has been a reflection of your internal well-being that you haven't worked on yet. And I think I was so upset and crying and rocking backwards and forwards and thinking I'd lost my mind because it was so powerful. This awakening, this new sense of I am in control. And I always say this to people, my mum being one of them, my dad being another. There was few people when I was growing up, a few teachers here and there, and they'll know who they are, who when I was being bad, would always say to me, "Kyle, why do you keep doing this? There's someone lovely inside of you." Because I never enjoyed being horrible to people. And they used to say, "There's someone really good inside of you, Kyle. Why do you keep doing this?" And I know now they saw the man you see today.
Yeah, they saw the goodness in you. They saw the potential.
Always there. Yeah, he was always there. The man I am today was always there. I was just taken over by this, and I could call it like an entity. And it's quite funny because I got to a point through my awakening when it happened. I didn't just change and all of a sudden everything was brilliant. It took me years of changing and altering my behaviour, because it doesn't happen overnight. But this is going to sound a bit odd to a lot of people, but it's the only way I can describe it, and I'd like to describe it as truthful as I can. So when I did start changing, I feel the universe would put me in circumstances to maybe test to see where I'm at and if I'm ready to evolve yet. And I remember distinctively, I took my son's mum, Laura, to Bradford to pick up a car. Cut a long story short, the car wasn't what the car was. It was a lie. They tried to missell it, and it was just all a mess. So, but she paid a deposit. So I said to the gentleman, we would like the deposit back. And he said, "You're not having it." So 10 years ago, Kyle would have just caused carnage. It had been a violent situation. But I closed my eyes in front of him, and the gentleman said to me, "What are you doing?" And I said to him, I'm meditating. I'm calming myself down for your safety to a degree. And this is the key. This is what I'd like for everyone to know. I could literally visualize the old me sat on a stool next to me, sulking when he didn't get his way. And then in them situations, it'd be in my ear, going, "Go on, don't be
get into him, sort of thing,
weak, don't be this." And I'd sit there, close my eyes, and there's not just that situation, but many other situations after that. I visualized this this entity, this big version of me, this big egotistical version of me going, go on, Kyle, don't be weak, don't be this. And I used to say, it doesn't make me weak. And eventually, over about 6 months to maybe a year, this visualization of this entity next to me sat on the stool sulking, eventually, slowly but surely, become less and less, and to a degree, and then after a year, it disappeared. And I feel like then I had completely shed that skin of that protection of what I created from growing up. So it's been a powerful one.
It's been a really powerful journey. So along the way, you said there were those teachers and obviously your parents that could see the good in you. But what about those people who knew the old Kyle? How have they responded to the new Kyle?
It's a good question. So the people who I meet from years ago, it takes a bit of time, obviously, because I do not discredit or hold animosity against anybody who has a bad word to say about me, who hasn't met me and seen my continual and consistent growth, because that was the picture I painted myself back then. I couldn't meet someone who hasn't seen me in 15 years and expect them to go, oh God, that's Kyle Walker, he's doing great now, he's doing this. They would still have a view of me, how I used to be, and I am at peace with that, and I am content with that. But the people who have seen me grow, when I go back to my village where I grew up, Keelby, I don't know how to word this any better, but I'm literally treated like a king, because a lot of people don't believe in change, or do believe in change, but understand that it is a very difficult and it's progression over time. So people have seen me grow, and I want to go to the village in Keelby. Everyone says, we knew it, we knew this guy was there, we knew you'd do well, Kyle. And it's taken me a long time, but I believe it's all, I mean, I say this as humbly as I can, and I believe it's all been necessary. I believe everything is necessary. I believe everything is done in love, even if it's in a bad situation, because I have a massive belief that the universe wants us to evolve, wants us to become better versions, wants us to grow, wants us to connect. And I believe the universe will sometimes have to put people through bad situations so long as we can look at these situations and extract lessons and say, what is this trying to teach me, instead of why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Once we adapt that mindset, we learn lessons very quickly and we evolve, and we do not put ourselves in circumstances and create habits which repeatedly keep us in these circumstances. So, I
mean, I quote my hubby here, because he'll always say the lessons are all around us. It's the wise man or woman who spots them, because they're there all the time, aren't they? We're being given that gift of those lessons. I mean, life is a school, isn't it? It's we're here to learn and grow and develop. So how has it changed you as a dad?
Oh wow, people always say this to me, and if my ego was going to answer the question, I'd say it changed me when my son was born, but it didn't. Sadly, it was, well, when I found out his mum was pregnant, but it didn't. It came a little bit after Junior was born, but not too far after Junior was born. But now, one of the most important things how it's changed me as a father is, when I grew up, my mother and father didn't say these things, before I say them, did not say these things to hurt me. They tried to tell me reverse psychology. So my parents used to say to me, Kyle, you'll never amount to anything. Your behavior, how you go, and you're never going to make it in life. You're never going to be successful. You're never going to be educated. You're never going to be this. Now, they didn't say it. I need to reinforce this. They didn't say it to hurt me. They said it because they wanted me to prove them wrong. Yeah. And it was just that, in my opinion, it was the worst way of going about it, because I was always a bad child. I was already a bad kid, a bad person. And then I adopted that belief system of, well, I'm not going to amount to anything anyway. So F the world even further. And it perpetuated my behavior, because I actually then took that belief on that I wasn't going to amount to anything. I generally believed I was going to be a nothing, a nobody, dead or in jail. So because I am a massive, massive, massive believer in we become what we believe ourselves to be, with my son now, I mean, those who have seen my videos, because I do post videos of them now and again, every day I instill in him, you are fantastic. You are going to be successful. You are going to be strong, boy. And he turns around to me and goes, no, Daddy, you are. So now we're gassing each other up.
Yeah.
Because I want to, my son's 6 now. And if my son was here now and you posed him the question, what's the most important thing in the world? He would respond to you, happiness. If you asked him what a limitation was, he'd tell you it's self-imposed. They don't exist.
Yeah.
We create them, Dad. If you ask him what fear is, he says a stepping stone to success. It's just another step towards success.
Yeah.
Because I believe that if I can teach my son this early enough, when he is in his early teens, teenage years, and he'll be able to overcome anything. Because
when all those hormones are kicking in.
I don't want them to come. He can stay young forever. I just know, and I want him to be. The thing is, as well, my mum and dad don't get me to a degree. They get me now, but they're still. How can I explain them? Very rigid mindset. Very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
They love me. They are very, very, very proud of me, but they are very rigid with their mindset. But I want my son to completely surpass myself, my parents, and everyone around me. And you know what? I don't even have any shadow of a doubt that he won't, because I know he will, because he has had the tools that I am using now, and the power it's had over me, a human being, where people and myself individually thought there was no way in this world I was ever going to become anything. That's how powerful the tools are, because honestly, on paper, this shouldn't have never happened. Yeah. But it did, because I learned and I wanted it more than anything. I do believe there is a big saying. I do believe some people have to completely destroy themselves before they find themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've come across that so many times, even with people that I've kind of spoke to on the Get a Life moments. They've had that moment where they've had to kind of completely really take stock of themselves and build from there. And you mentioned earlier that you did meet your birth mother again. So how do you look at that now? How do you view that now from this place?
Okay, so when I met Tracy, at the time I was 18, so I was still pretty bad. And I'll give you an example. For the first time I met her, we smoked weed together.
Right.
For my first birthday, my first birthday, I met her when I was about 20. She met me for my birthday. She bought me some cocaine. And at that time, I thought, wow, this is great. Because that's who I was. I thought, this is great. This is everybody should have a mother like this. You know what I mean? This is the best thing ever. She allowed me to do whatever I pleased. We took ecstasy together. We've done. But the thing is, this is another powerful moment in my life. I got to a point where, just before my awakening, because there were so many different parts before it actually blew up in my face. Just before my awakening, there was a period of about a year where I was looking at Tracy and her behaviour towards other people, her extreme behaviour, her deceptive behaviour, her addictive behaviour, and I was looking at her and observing her, and instead of going, wow, this is great, I started looking at her and going, oh my God, this is everything I hate about myself.
Right. So she was a beautiful mirror for you then.
Oh my God, the most profound. I couldn't put it in descriptive words how this journey, what's happened in this journey, but that was, I started looking at her and I saw everything in myself, everything in her. I was a diluted down version. But this is another thing, which is another conversation completely, how we pass on trauma. But obviously, the trauma was passed to me, which was diluted ever so slightly, but I could see myself in her eyes And I started looking at her being disgusted and how she treated people. Once I started seeing the cracks and the masks started falling off, and every time I saw it, I was going, "Oh my God, I do that. That's how I treat people." And I think it got to a point where there was a situation where I just had enough. I think she was back heavily on drugs. She was deceptive and lying to many other people. She was in AA and she wasn't ever clean from anything, and she was lying and portraying this life it was just all very odd, but powerful at the same time, because like I said, it would that her behavior, everything I hated about myself was that woman.
She was mirroring it to you.
Yeah, she was mirroring it to me. She was.
I guess there's a gift in that, though, isn't there? There's a gift in that, because you were able to recognise it and do something with it.
Yeah, no question. No, it was a massive gift. It was, I don't look back at anything in my life now and go, poor Kyle, or, oh my God. I was talking to somebody the other day, actually, and pain is pain. A lot of people listen to my story and they go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you've been through so much." But then they'll share a story to me where they've had someone break up with them and it's been terrible and traumatic. And they go, "Yeah, it's not like your story." I'm like, "Mate, listen, pain's pain.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where the story comes from. Your situation that you deem to maybe not be as big as my situation caused you just as much pain as, I promise you, my situation caused me. Pain is pain."
Yeah.
There's no levels of, well, he's been through worse or she's been through worse. Pain is pain. But it's pain is also so valuable, very valuable. I do not regret anything I've done. I forgive the man I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I hope those who I have caused harm in the past, who don't know me now, have found it in themselves to forgive the old version of me, because hate is baggage, and by carrying hate and by carrying hurt, we only end up hurting ourselves and poisoning ourselves.
Absolutely.
So I forgive myself for myself, and I hope those in my past forgive me. And everybody who knows me now, who's known me for the last 6-7 years, are very proud of me. I am damn proud of myself, and I thank me.
Yeah.
I'm proud of me because I'm very grateful for everything.
So how has this led to you? I know that you've recently enrolled at the university.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, like, how has it led to that point where you thought, right, I'm off to university?
Well, I was reading loads of books, and I consume a ridiculous amount of books and audio books. I watch on YouTube, I watch lectures from all over the world about human behavior, sociology, mind management, associative behavior, emotional intelligence, everything to do about life and the world around us, even the universe. I could talk to you about the expansion of the universe, black holes, because of the books that I've read: economics, human behavior, like I said, sociology. And I kind of got, my extreme behavior went from something that was poisoning me to something that was absolutely nourishing me, and I felt it. I could feel this nourishment of this knowledge, everything that I was reading. So I started doing talks. I started speaking to companies. But sadly, in the society we do live in, for me to infiltrate the positions I actually want to get to, I do have to have my qualifications, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that because I am coming for the education system, the psychologists. I'm coming to implement theories and philosophies that I've created over the last 7 years, and I'm excited to do it. And I want to learn anyway. So there's no better place for me to be but university, studying psychology and sociology as a dual degree. I'm gonna go. Obviously, we don't count our chickens before the hatch, but I want to get a master's. And if I put my mind to it, I know I can do it. And eventually, if I can, I want to get a doctorate. And the reason I want to do it, and I won't stop until I get it, is because it will reinforce everything that I speak about. that it doesn't matter
yeah,
who you are, where you've come from, how you look, you can achieve anything, so long as you have to arrive there in the mind first.
Absolutely. Now, my best friend is just doing her doctorate in existential psychotherapy. And boy, I mean, incredible. I am very, very proud of her, but it is probably one of the most difficult doctorates that you can undertake. So yeah. So if you take on that challenge, yeah, I bow down to you, because it's massive. It's massive. So fantastic that you've got that aspiration. So what else then? What else is going on for you right now? And aside from studying a lot and having these aspirations to develop your studies, what else is going on for Kyle?
Well, I've been working on a theory which I've been putting through. I know it's studying as well, but I've been putting through professors at university, even in London, Leicestershire University. And I'm still doing my online coaching, so I do my online coaching. I've been caring for a disabled gentleman as well, just to get me through university, which has, may I add, been the best decision of my life.
I saw a video of you taking him driving in the car, and it was just the most joyful thing ever.
Just, do you know what? Like he teaches me. I mean, I learn every day anyway, but he teaches me more and more about myself and the world around me than any book, than any professor, than any lecture I've ever seen. Just by being around him. Literally, I can't describe it in words. He wants for nothing. He complains about nothing. He's in a wheelchair, electric wheelchair. He has to be hoisted in his chair from his bed, hoisted back into his bed from his chair. So he has no physical movement, as in walking like we do. He can talk. He struggles with his talk, but he can communicate. So people would look at people like himself and think, oh my God, what a horrible situation to be in. But oh my God, you wouldn't think he was disabled if you spoke to him. His humor is incredible. His wit is incredible. His knowledge is incredible. His mentally full capacity. And I have conversations with Tom about my life, and he sometimes guides me in my life with very valuable knowledge, with very valuable and kind and compassionate words. It's just incredible. Like this is a vehicle. This what I walk around in is a vehicle.
It's a human suit.
It's exactly that, and he has tapped into that without even trying. Just he is his true self, and I know that is the point where we're all going to eventually be ushered to. That is the evolution of our species. I do believe that we will be forced through destruction, depression, debt, war, poverty, whatever you want to call it. We will be forced, just like I was in my individual life, we will be forced through learning scenarios and pushed until we fully reconnect. It's only my belief, but it's a belief that I can't argue with. I've got no, even when I read opposing books or opposing views, it does not deter me from the understanding that all this stuff we're going through now, all the stuff we have been through, are going through now, is necessary.
It's part of our growth.
It's necessary.
As a species, yeah, absolutely.
What a beautiful way to look at it.
yeah, absolutely. So, as with all of my guests, before we end for today, I ask everybody to share their top tip for life. So what would be your top tip for life for the audience?
Top tip for life? Read lots of books.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, read lots of books. And one of the main things is don't take other people's limitations on board. Do not listen to fear. Do not take on limitations. You are limitless. If you can arrive there in the mind first, you can create it. And that's all I can say. Just don't impose limitations on yourself.
Brilliant, beautiful. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today, Kyle. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Lisa. I appreciate it.